Hey, you're listening to the Smoke Meat Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Pittman. Smoke Meat's brought to you by Joe's Underground at the corner of 8th and Broad in Augusta, Georgia, in the bottom of the Lamar Building. Joe's is such a great place to go sit down and have a drink, just have a good time with people who understand and people who love you just from the first time you get there. Such a great place. Always been treated like family at Joe's. Remember, I goes to Joe's and so should you. Joe's Underground, the corner of 8th and Broad in Augusta, Georgia, in the bottom of the Lamar Building. Today, I've got such a wonderful guest. We're going to do a little bit of Star Wars for you. We're going to interview one of the people from the Mandalorian, a young man by the name of Dominic Pace. He is the bounty hunter Gekko on the Mandalorian. Down's giving me a little bit of the skinny on the show and kind of what's hopefully coming up. I just had a great talk with him. He's had a great career. So we're going to get this thing started off here on Smoke Meat. Hey, Dominic, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. Hello to you and hello to all your listeners.
Oh, man. We're going to have a good day today. I just got that feeling, man. I've been looking forward to this one. But,
absolutely. Yeah. I appreciate everyone's support. You know, just being a Star Wars fan myself and being, able to interact with all the Star Wars fans, it's just been beyond words in terms of the support of this little side character bounty that's starting to pick up a little steam there.
Yeah, I know. I've seen you do a lot of the cons, and man, that is so awesome because it shows you're vested in your character, and also you understand that the fans are what makes that happen. They make it possible for you to be Gekko.
Without question. I always think of the yin and the yang symbol, and especially with side characters in the Star Wars universe. If you were to take any other franchise in regards to just the character that's been on screen for less than 1 minute, even the original bounty hunters from Empire Strikes Back, how famous they've become over the years, you wouldn't be able to find anything. So it just forever grateful to all the fans during this time of the COVID and everything else going on. I've been offering free videos with people reaching out through Messenger on Facebook or Instagram just to cheer people up, and also my way of saying thank you not only to the fans but also to the amazing Dave Filoni, whose birthday it is today, as well as Jon Favreau. I'm so grateful for both of them. Oh,
yeah. And, it's funny, looking back over Favreau's career, I never thought just starting out, that he would be the powerhouse that he is. And, I mean, he does so many great things, in front of and behind.
He's hit a home run with every genre, not to mention one of my favorite sports movies was Rudy. He had a nice supporting role in that. But then the best actor movie ever, just actors in Los Angeles kind of going through the grind, was Swingers. And then he did another fun one with Vince Vaughn, Made. And then, of course, Elf became a classic, one of the best, one of, I think, all of our favorite holiday films, aside from all the classics. But that became an instant classic. And then, of course, what he did with Marvel now and Disney and Star Wars, just a legend right now.
Yeah, I mean, he can't hit a foul. Everything's a home run, man.
He's like John Williams with his music,
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. But when we talked, I told you I'm the old guy. I'm the original trilogy guy, and yes. I started watching the episode 1, and as soon as Jar Jar came on, I'm good. I quit.
And I almost feel for the modern day fans, because the one thing when the original trilogy hit us at that age, Lucas was so ahead of his time that now, it's very oversaturated. I don't want to say it's a bad thing, because obviously there's so many talented people in all different franchises, obviously with the movement of technology over the years with CGI and now with this amazing LED screen they call the volume. But back then it really hit our heartstrings because he was so ahead of his time, almost like Tesla or Thomas Edison, that it hits you a million different ways on your heartstrings just because there was nothing like it during our age. And then also, we weren't distracted by social media. We weren't distracted by YouTube. We would have that play set in our bedroom along with our Transformers and our A-Team, figures and mass figures. And we'd be able to play for hours and hours with those figures there.
Oh, dude, I wish I still had my Star Wars toys. Holy crap.
Yeah, they become quite a business. And again, the most amazing thing is little side characters sometimes become the most coveted, more than the big stars, like Han Solo and Leia and such. It's just absolutely amazing. And the collectors, I've been able to tour the last 5 months before the shutdown there. And it's just been amazing to interact with so many of the passionate fans who just love collecting, mostly from our generation there.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's funny, I watched a thing on Netflix. It was called The Toys That Made Us. Have you seen that?
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Kenner got a deal when they started that. Holy crap.
Yes, and then that's what they say. They say that Lucas actually wanted to make the prequels because he broke the contract, ended up expiring with Kenner, and then he was able to secretly come in, and then that's where he made all the money through. I think it was through Hasbro, where he took the majority of the profit there.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a great story, and then also that was just a great era of collecting. The Transformers did an amazing job. I thought Mask, that little collectible line, was amazing. Not to mention He-Man line as well, which I thought was great.
Yeah, I know Kevin Smith's doing some stuff with the He-Man right now. I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Me too. I just thought those characters were so colorful, along with Thundercats. We'd watch that after school.
Yep.
So it's just great to see our generation keep it going with all the fun stuff, because the kids these days, my kids are now 14 and 11, but even during Christmas when they were 4, 5, and 6, I would get them a play set, and they'd play with it for 2 seconds, but then go right to the iPad. So it's great that our generation keeps the tradition on, and I'm excited to see what Kevin Smith does with that.
Oh yeah, I think it's gonna be great, and just we had so many cool things. Not like I say, not taken away from today, but I mean, when you saw the Star Destroyers in the original Star Wars, I saw it on the big screen, and it was somebody sat down and built the model of this thing, and they had to figure out how to do the motion capture and all that. No one had ever done it.
The detail to everything. Oh my God! What I cringe at is the story where I guess the Death Star got misplaced.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they know where it is right now. If it ended up getting tossed in the garbage or what. But oh my God, that piece it must have been. I mean, it would be priceless these days. But it's just amazing, the whole Lucas original team, the detail they put into the work. To also sidetrack from that a little bit, with the makeup as well and with the costumes. I mean, the figures, they do such an intricate job as well. When I was working on episode 1 and 3, they had 25 characters, the creatures that they had to build from scratch every single morning, and there was about a 2-hour process. But the detail, the attention to detail within the Star Wars universe, I think is what really makes it special, whether it's the ships, the weapons, or the characters there.
Yeah, because, one thing I've noticed, and being one myself, Star Wars fans, they're the most detail-oriented people in the world. I mean, you miss one thing on any scene, somebody's gonna notice it, and it's gonna go on blast.
Without question.
And, look at the poor stormtrooper that popped his head going through the portal.
Oh man, they watch it a million times, and like I said, I can't tell you how grateful I am. I'm just about to do this national tour of about 20 different comic book stores, and it wouldn't be there if it wasn't for the fans and how detail-oriented they are and how passionate they are for every character there.
Yeah. Now, whenever you got this gig, did they already say, okay, now we've got this bounty hunter, we want you to be him? Or did they give you some input on Gekko?
No, okay, so what happened was I had previous experience with prosthetics. I doubled Frankenstein on Van Helsing in 2002 opposite Hugh Jackman, and I was also in Bright with Will Smith. I played one of the orcs. Now, having prosthetics on your body is not the most incredible talent to have. However, you do have to be claustrophobic-free. You do have to be patient. You have to be kind and respectful, because you're in that chair sometimes 2, 4, 5 hours even, depending on the detail of work that they do. I went in for a simple makeup test. I've been a working man actor. I know, this town gets a lot of, titles and labels, but a lot of us, the 99% of us, a lot of us are just grit and grind to where you have to take whatever job you can. We're not all big movie stars driving around a Mercedes, with our big mansion up in the hills. So not only have I done, guest stars and co-stars, this happened to be a simple makeup test by one of the top groups in Hollywood, the top makeup companies called Legacy Effects. And what happened was 2 weeks prior, they didn't tell me what the project was. There was no promise of work, but I was just polite. I was respectful. I always had my business card on me. And the gentleman who did me happened to do his name was Brian Sipe, but he happened to do Drax over in Atlanta, Georgia, for 3 or 4 years when they were doing Guardians of the Galaxy. This man is one of the greatest prosthetic guys in the business. If you look up his work, I mean, he's worked with everyone from Rebecca Romaine Stamos on the X-Men, to Arnold Schwarzenegger with Terminator. I mean, when they need somebody A-list, they call him. So, long story short, they were about to hire 25 actors or creatures or, featured characters for a project that was called Huckleberry. I had no idea what it was until I was told to wait outside a room in Manhattan Beach Studios on the South Bay in California. it wasn't until I went into the wardrobe room that I knew that it was Star Wars. And what made my hands go numb is when I saw a rack of clothes and it said Dominic Pace, Bounty Hunter. Now, the makeup artist, when he came upstairs, because they were going to maybe put a mask on my character, just make me masked with maybe a very limited visor, similar to Boba Fett, and maybe even these big, long dreads like an old Viking and such. Mm-hmm. But Brian came to me, and he came to the makeup guy. He said, I want to do the most extensive prosthetics. Out of all the 25 characters, I want to do it on you, Dom, because you're patient, you're kind, you're respectful, and the rest is history. So I went in for a screen test the following day, and with screen tests, that's when I knew this was a major budget, because more often than not, with television or film, they'll just throw you on set day one, throw the makeup on you, and then just throw you to set, and that was it. This was a screen test in front of Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and also Deborah Chow, who's going to be heading up the Kenobi series. It took 2 hours every morning. It was the most extensive amount of makeup of those side characters within Episode 1 and Episode 3, aside from the stars, aside from getting Mando in place and everything else. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, I mean, just the perfect formula for being an action figure at some point within the Star Wars universe. I'm hoping that it's sooner than later, but it was just an absolute dream come true. The nickname Gekko came from an inspiration that he had 2 years prior. It was a Greenpeace project that he did, I believe, in the state of Georgia, in Atlanta. It was a big convention just for, the Earth, the environment, and Greenpeace, where he created a model and he put a 90-pound woman in this prosthetic that looked very similar to a gecko. She was holding a gecko for a photo shoot, just about peace and, our rainforest, etc. Anyhow, he altered, with my suggestion, and respectfully, he altered the bumps on the head that would be similar to a gecko to make them slightly four horns. And the nickname just stuck amongst the other bounty hunters, and it's been a nickname ever since. And like I said, I'm going on tour now to visit, oh my God, probably 20 states in 40 days with about maybe 15 comic book stores from Phoenix all the way to Miami, Florida, all the way up to Dearborn Heights, Michigan. And I just can't tell you how grateful I am for the opportunity of being a lifelong Star Wars fan there.
Oh, man, that is awesome, because like I say, the fans are what make you, and, people pay attention to that. Favreau pays attention to that, I'm sure. He's not an idiot, and he sees, okay, this guy's going out, and he's doing this, and people are responding. We might want to go and explore this a little more, and, you never know.
You never know. That's the plan. I had a long conversation with my agent yesterday regarding Season 3, and I said, hey, look what's going on. I mean, the fans are really taken to this character. I mean, the following on Facebook, the following on social media. I've been involved in all the charitable organizations, but it's not just because of that. I was raised with respect. Yesterday was June 6th in honor of D-Day. My grandfather was a member of the 4th Infantry at Utah Beach. And, the greatest generation, they raised us with respect. So whether something comes out or they don't, I just really come by that amazing, I come from that amazing generation to where I was raised under them, to respect my elders and to respect my peers. And from doing that, a lot of good has come out of it there.
Exactly. Good causes good. Mm-hmm. And I believe that because, like I say, it's just nobody wants to work with a butthole.
That's exactly.
And nobody's going to hire one.
Exactly.
And
absolutely.
When you were doing just a simple makeup test that basically, if I gather right, a makeup test is basically they didn't have a styrofoam head to put it on.
Right.
They're going to try this. And you were respectful and you did what you were there to do. And it's snowballing. And I see great things coming.
Thank you so much. And it's a great lesson, I think, to the youth out there, if they're listening, just the fact that, first of all, you take every job, you stay humble, you never know where that job's going to lead, you don't hold yourself to just that job in terms of your status, but when you're humble, you're respectful, and you work hard, a lot of good things come out of it, and I believe that's the American way. That's how you get ahead in this country, to where you're appreciative, and you just grind at it, and no matter who you are, I think a lot of good things come out of that.
Yeah, exactly. And the younger generation, I hate sounding like the old man, but I'm not a kid anymore, but
yeah.
The younger generation, a lot of them haven't been hungry.
Yeah.
And I grew up poor. My dad died when I was 10. And
I'm sorry to hear.
We were poor. We were so poor we about had to share mouthwash,
Yeah.
And I'll do what I got to never be hungry again. And
absolutely.
A lot of these kids today they've always known where their next meal were coming from, or they knew that the lights were going to be on when they got home.
It's funny you say that. A little story, I don't discipline my kids too hard. They're pretty respectful, but I'll tell you, their grandmother gives them $5 every now and then, or $10 or $20, and there's been more than one occasion to where they'll come home and they misplace the money. And I'm like, hey, guys, I said, I got to tell you, I said, when I was a kid, I would hold on to that $5 like it was gold. And the same thing, now it's like, my wife tries to tell me, she's like, well, they don't come from the, obviously those times. And when, obviously, I grew up with a single mom myself. And unfortunately, yeah, it's a little bit more of that needs to be instilled within the younger generations of just appreciating a day's pay and to have respect for that money without question.
Yep, most definitely. But no, I mean, when you do good things, they come about. And you were raised right, it sounds like, and good things are happening.
Yep. Absolutely.
When I was doing the research on this, what I call my research, I don't dig extremely deep because, we don't have a 3-hour show. And I just, you see how my thing is, I don't get on and use my radio voice. So, back in 2017, you were in this. Tell me about it, sir. We talk. It's a conversation. I just kind of get some little bullet points that I might throw in there if they come up,
Yeah, we keep it real.
And as I was going down the IMDb, I saw a movie there that, dude, it hit my heart. It is one of my favorite movies in the world. A lot of people don't like it because it's a little politically incorrect. You probably know exactly which one I'm talking about right now. Special Unit.
Special Unit. Oh my God, you saw that!
I've been a Titus fan forever. I saw it when they started making the TV show, and they said nope.
Oh man, he's a lot of fun. He's a funny comedian there, and I'll tell you, we had a great time on set. Another guy, just from grassroots, touring for many, many years, and just managed to put this together with Billy Cardell, one of the stars of Michael Marley, another guy who grinded it out in the stand-up comic world, a Pittsburgh guy. He loves his Steelers, he loves his Pirates, and his Permane Brothers sandwich. I don't know if you ever had a chance to have one of those in Pittsburgh, but I had a great time working on that project. And again, if you look at the IMDb, you just see, grinding it out for so many years, and like I said, a lot of good opportunities come throughout that, but it's just been a pleasure to be in this town, specifically just because I've always wanted to be an actor. I always enjoy the love and of the art itself, but it definitely takes a lot of work, and I've just been grateful to still be able to hang in there, and a lot of good things have happened there.
Yeah, and a lot of people, when you talk about actors, they think, okay, there's Brad Pitt or, Leo DiCaprio, the leading men.
Yeah.
And the leading ladies. And, I can mention certain names, and you may think, who in the hell is this? And then you see a picture, and you're like, that guy's been in everything. That's the character actor. And that's, like I say, you've been grinding out for a long time doing that. And that's the backbone of entertainment for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, again, the 99% of us, it is a job for a lot of us. A lot of us are just here to get a day's pay. And unfortunately, we're all not making millions of dollars. But at the same time, I tell my kids every day, you got to make sure you do what you love. But at the same time, there does come sacrifice. The one thing with work in this business is it's very sporadic. But the one thing I learned very early on was that you take every job as a privilege as opposed to being entitled for it. And I'll tell you, with that mentality, you get a lot of joy out of the experience. A lot of people there say, oh, well, I'm not happy unless I'm going to be the top of my game. And we all want to strive to be there and make millions and millions of dollars. But at the end of the day, if you treat every job as a privilege, you end up having a happier life and also doing enjoying what you love doing there.
Yeah, one of my first actual interviews, I've been doing this since July. It's not a very old podcast. And a lot of my earlier episodes were just me kind of rambling and talking about different things solo. And I met a guy who's a publicist named Steve Joyner, and he started sending me some people. And one of my first ones that he sent me was Larry Hankin. And when he first mentioned Larry, I was thinking, who in the hell is Larry Hankin? I don't know this guy. And I looked and I talked to Larry, and I know Larry very well. He's been in everything. He's been doing character work since the late 60s. He was old Joe in Breaking Bad, a key character.
Yes.
And
yes.
I'm like, holy crap, I know this guy. And
absolutely.
And I've done several different character actors, and it's always so great because, character actors grind it out. They know okay, I may be in 3 scenes in this, but they're going to be 3 good scenes, and I'm going to do my part. And they move on.
Absolutely. And the great thing is, especially for us guys, is we can do it well into our 70s, and that's what I plan to do. I mean, of course, I'd love to have that retirement home in a beautiful area in Georgia or Montana. But at the same time, I've always just got such a great adrenaline rush through it. I can't see myself retiring unless, of course, L.A. just becomes too ridiculous to live in, which I'm sure some people would say it already is. But, for the most part, we're going to hopefully grow and age into one of the fire chiefs and the detectives, and hopefully have a nice fleshed out career by the time we're 80 there.
Oh yeah. Well, I know you've done a lot of fire and police people in a lot of your things. I saw you were in we had talked about this, NCIS and NCIS LA. My wife wants you to do the hat trick and get on New Orleans.
Absolutely.
She is actually upstairs watching New Orleans right now.
I'll tell you, well, the good news is production apparently got the green light June 12th. Although I did tell my agents, I said, hey, listen, I want to take this once-in-a-lifetime road trip with my son from June 29th to August 10th. But the industry will be here when I get back, and we're hoping to close some more crime dramas, especially it's always nice for me to get on a plane and get out of L.A. for a little bit to travel on location, not to mention New Orleans, which has the best food, in my opinion, in the country. All the influence from Italian to Cajun, Creole, African-American, just some of the best influence you can imagine down there, even the French. So it's always a joy to visit down there. There's a World War II museum, and I honored my grandfather with. It's called the Canyon of Heroes, and I honored him with a brick down there at the World War II museum. If anybody ever gets a chance in New Orleans, that's a great museum to visit there.
Nice. Yeah, you talk about the food in New Orleans. Last night we did a big Low Country bowl.
I saw it. I saw the pictures on Facebook. Wow,
dude, it was amazing.
Now, what is that? Is that you call it not jambalaya, right? But something similar to it. What do you call that?
No, it's a Low Country bowl. We had you put in, of course, your seasonings and all that. Get your water boiling. You put in potatoes and corn.
Yeah.
Let it go for a little while. Put in sausage, onions.
Yeah.
A couple of lemons, shrimp, crawdads. Oh man, it was just it was amazing.
I saw the photos. That thing looked just absolutely gorgeous. Whoever was invited to that party. I'm absolutely jealous there. It looks beautiful.
And the neat thing about it was, my captain put it on at his home, and his fiance's birthday was last week, and it was part celebration for that, and also last Saturday I turned 30 as a paramedic, or 30 in EMS. It's my 30-year anniversary, and he did it as part of that too.
Wow!
And that was so cool. That it meant so much.
Well, just to thank you to not only you, but your entire team out there for everything you guys have been doing on the front lines with COVID. Just the utmost amount of respect. Just like with the firefighters, our police officers, being on the front lines, I always think of 9/11 on how so many people will be running the other way, and just a tremendous amount of respect to all of you for working in service to protect us and to keep us well here.
Thank you very, very much.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing, it's funny, everybody talks about when medical people watch medical shows, they nitpick and all this. I've done so many different things with medicine. I've never turned down an opportunity to do anything.
Absolutely.
And I've been a tactical medic. I've gone in with the U.S. Marshals on some things, and just things like that is helping them as their medic. And I'm actually SWAT certified.
Wow.
And watching the show SWAT, I'm been talking back and forth with Kenny Johnson because he's one of my favorite actors too. Mm-hmm. Just a great guy. And I watched the little things on that show, like the way that they move, or even just the way they hold their weapons and the trigger discipline and all of that. When people pay attention to that, like say, when the actor pays attention to it, it shows that they care about their role, and it just goes a long way with me when people do things like that on any role.
Absolutely. He's a great guy. I had the pleasure of working on SWAT there a couple of years ago, actually at Paramount Pictures, where my wife works, and it was a privilege to work with him and all the stars on that show there.
Yeah. And you've just, like I say, looking back over the IMDb and all, there's just so many great things. I'm looking forward to some great things from you because, I'm not a psychic by no stretch. Hell, I can't tell what's going to happen tomorrow. I can't remember what happened yesterday. I'm just here today. But I go with my gut all the time because it's never wrong. And I just got a feeling, things are going to blow up for you. I've got that feeling in my gut.
I'd like to believe so. Thank you so much. I know Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are huge fans, and I'd like to believe they acknowledge that somebody on the inside, one of the cast members, is a fan themselves, not to mention, one who respects the fan base as well as being involved in all the charities. So I would like to believe they would reward somebody that does that. Again, we just have to see, this business, it's very much like, some of the major stock companies, like, say, Goldman and Sachs and some of the higher-level agencies, to where if you're not a member of those top agencies, a lot of times it's hard to get your voice heard. But I think the fan base and also the Star Wars production and everything else, I think we'll be able to at least have our pitch made before Season 3. And I'd like to believe you're going to be seeing a little bit more Gekko. There was a illustrator and also the CEO of a new comic book series called Star Wars Bounty Hunters, brought out by Marvel. They're on the 3rd issue right now, and he's taken a liking to Gekko, and he said there might be something after the 10th issue for me. So really excited for that, and fingers crossed a lot of good things will happen in the future there.
Oh, yeah. I know a lot of people are looking for Season 2 to come out and ready for it.
Oh, man. I mean, they just done such a great job with the story, such a perfect balance with everything. We just couldn't wait. After Episode 8, I think we were all just kind of hanging out. It was almost like a cliffhanger in a million different ways on where this thing's going to go. But I think we're all really excited there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like I say, I've been watching it, and it's won me over to some new Star Wars.
Yeah.
And that's just awesome.
I think it's a really great angle and a lot of potential with this Kenobi series as well. It's sort of biblical in a way, the fact that, it's going to take place to where Kenobi was watching over Luke, almost like, Luke is the chosen one in many ways, and sort of having this, spiritual figure that has been, the mature figure watching over him. I think they've got a lot of potential with that on Tatooine, and I'm excited to see where that series goes as well, especially with the legendary Ewan McGregor there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. I don't get excited over a lot of different shows or films. I'm a huge fan of a lot of different things, but when it's over, I feel if I binge watch something or if something's the season's over, okay, we're done, and that's about it. And then this thing, I'm like, damn, I'm ready for it to keep going.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
That's rare for me.
Yeah, they know Star Wars. I think they know the fans. They're one of us from our generation. So I think they really got their finger on the pulse of the Star Wars fan base. So I think a lot of exciting years ahead. I wasn't crazy about the Clone Wars and Rebels, but I like the fact that he's sort of intertwining them. I'm going back and watching old Clone Wars episodes now, just to familiarize myself with a lot of the new characters. I think he's going to merge into the Mandalorian series, from what I understand, but from the rumors. I don't know anything personally, but I'm excited to see where that goes, because it's always nice to see like a backstory of one character or another, or where they came from and such,
Yeah. Yeah. Now there is one Star Wars backstory that I did watch, other than the original trilogy, and a lot of people just won't even acknowledge it. But it is amazing if you just take the cheesiness and roll with it. The Star Wars Christmas. Remember that one?
Yeah. Oh my God, that was about as vaudeville. When they used to have those shows on. What was it? Lawrence Welk, and they used to have. It was the era of the Carol Burnett show. I mean, it really kind of showed its era. The Donnie Osmond, Donnie and Marie show. I mean, some things did not age well, and obviously, I think we can agree with that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just as far as the laugh. But the one great thing with that show was it introduced Boba Fett for the first time, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. And what's funny is I actually had Bruce Valanche on the show, and
you're kidding me!
I never thought to ask him about it, and I'm so ashamed of that fact.
Yeah, man. I mean, they had B. Arthur, and they even had Art Carney, and some of the legends from the Carol Burnett show there. One of the other gentlemen, I forget his name, but man, I mean, that was a great time. It's funny. My bedtime was around that time with what was it? Remember Sha Na Na? Do you remember that show?
I do.
Those guys were great. But I remember either the Muppet Show or Sha Na Na, or Welcome Back, Kotter. Around that time, that was my bedtime. But it was just a great era of television, just because it was so isolated to those 13 channels. That's what we got. But and there were no, little to no reruns at that time. So it was special in and of itself there.
Oh yeah, it was definitely special.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Well, Dom, I have had a ball with this, man, and I'm looking for, you're welcome back here anytime.
Thank you so much. I'll be around that area, Cleveland, Tennessee, July 26th, and then I'm heading down to Miami and Fort Lauderdale for a couple of appearances around July 30th and 31st. And just for any of your listeners, feel free to visit GekkoTheBountyHunter.com for any upcoming appearances. But just to everybody, I appreciate everyone's support. And if anyone ever has a down day or they have a birthday for their family member or graduation, they need a hello from a Star Wars actor, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to send one out within a day or two there.
Outstanding. Man, I appreciate it a bunch. And like I say, I'm going to put the charities and I'm going to put the website and everything in the show notes. Everybody, all they got to do is click. And oh yeah, we're going to support you. And we're going to rally to keep Gekko going because I think it's great.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And again, all my love to your entire team over there in the medical field. Again, can't say enough of how much you guys have really held us up here through this entire virus, and hopefully it'll be fading away soon. But thank you guys for your courage and your bravery through all of this.
Well, thank you so much.